Oh, we're live. Ah! What is up, guys? What's up, my sons of turtles? Hey, Hope, how's it going? Hey, Dev, nice of you to join. Hi, Nikki, welcome back. Losh, what is up, Losh? Streety McMeaty. Hey, you can't wait to listen while you drive from home. No, wait, drive home from work. All right. Well, yeah. Hey, glad you could listen in. What's up, Gabriel? Welcome back. Whew. Man, you guys, like yesterday, there were two, not just one, but two power outages at my house. Okay, yeah, yesterday in the morning it was a power outage until like noon or something, and then afterwards, when the power came back on, the internet went out for a couple of hours. That sucked. I didn't know what to do. I had nothing to do. How did people survive without internet or power for that matter? What's up, Deverell? Deverell. Hey, Christopher, welcome. Hey, Leslie Ann, how's it going? Konnichiwa, Roglin. Is that Roglin? Is that how you say it? What is up, random person? Nikki, your power went out twice today, also? That's weird. Why was your message deleted? I don't know. It's the spam filter. They automatically delete stuff. I don't know why. Hope you're making sugar cookie dough. Eggnog ice cream. That sounds amazing. Hey Katie, nice of you to join. What's up, Danielle? All right. Yeah, other than the power outages, there was nothing going on. The pandemic is still here. What's up, Neko Wolf? Neko Wolf. How's my day going? My day is all right. My day is good. Spending my time indoors so much these days. Oh yeah, YouTube did crash. That was weird. Okay, we're gonna be reading chapter what is this? Chapter 12. From Smiling Proud Wanderer. So get a drink, get a snack, and then we'll get started. I have a snack. Check it out. Ooh, ooh. It is pizza flavored potato chips that I bought from this Japanese market. What kind of flavor? What kind of pizza? Pepperoni pizza, it seems. Even though it doesn't say. But that looks like pepperoni to me. It looks like Ruffles, actually. No? Alright. No, WAP is gone, Gabriel. The wet ass posse is gone, so it hasn't come back yet. Oh well, I think it's decided to stay at another person's house. Unfortunately, yeah, it's not living in my attic anymore. I think I finally scared it away. All right, let's do this. How do you guys open chips bags? Do you open it this way? Like you take these two and open it? Or do you rip it like this? I like opening it this way because it's easy to reach in and grab the chips. So this way is easier. So sometimes you can't do it this way because it's really hard to open. But alright, let's see what it smells like. It smells like Ruffles. Ooh. Alright, let's see how it tastes. I can kind of taste the pizza. It's cheesy more than anything. I think. Let me try again. not exactly like pepperoni pizza. Like I already read the outside of the bag, so I already know. I'm already primed, right? So it does kind of taste like pizza. I don't know if you just blindfold me and gave me the chips. I don't know if I would be able to tell that it's the pizza. Not bad though. Ruffles are the best. All right, all right. What flavor of Ruffles do you like? Hey Freddy, your favorite part is licking the powder off my finger. Okay, I lick it off too. I'm on stream with you guys, so I'm being nice and I'm being polite, and I'm using a napkin. But I like to lick it off too. Pinch pull. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Okay, a lot of people do use the pinch method. Willa likes to cut her bags open and use chopsticks to keep your fingers clean. You're like one of the few peoples I know that eat chips with chopsticks. Good on you. Like it's cleaner. I know. I understand. All right. So let's get started. What happened last time? So last time, we had the let's see, the Peach Valley Six Fairies. Oh wait, before that, remember Ling Hu Chang was in a fight and he got wounded, right? He had a palm strike to his chest or something, and he was wounded. And then the Peach Valley Six Fairies, they take him away and then they try to cure him, right? And I think they may have saved him. They may have saved his life. But they're they're six crazy people with a lot with a lot of ideas on how to cure him. So and they never agree on anything. So they try to cure him, and they cure him 6 different ways, and each one doing their own thing. And they make his life a living hell, right? They may have saved him, but they made his life a living hell. And now there are 6 streams of energy, like chaotic energy, traveling around inside his body. Okay, and he's totally hurt, right? Uh, and he's about to die, right? He's gonna die any second now, or any day now. So Ling Hu Chong gets them to go back to the Huashan school, right? And then they go back to the school, and Madame Yue, his master wife, she gets mad because she thinks that these 6 fairies attacked Ling Hu Chong or tortured him. So she stabs one of them. She stabs Fruit Fairy in the chest. All right. Now, he wasn't expecting it. Right? He could have dodged it, but he wasn't expecting it. So he gets stabbed in the chest. And the other ones react right away. The other fairies, they automatically run up to Madame Yue and they pick her up, and they're about to rip her into 4 pieces, like they did to the other dude that we saw some time ago. And they do that, and then Ling Hu Chong saves her by threatening to kill himself. And of course, they don't want Ling Hu Chong to kill himself, so they stop and then they run away, and they take their the fruit fairy, the injured fruit fairy, and they run away. And now his master, Ling Hu Chong's master, decides to take the students and leave the school. Okay, they're pretending to go to Mount Songshan to talk to the Alliance chief, the chief of the Five Mountains Alliance, to ask him why he agreed to get these guys from the sword branch of the Huashan school to take over their school. All right. So the pretense is that they're going to Mount Songshan. They're leaving the school to go to Mount Songshan to talk to the chief. But what they're really doing is they're just running away. Okay, they're just taking everyone from the school and they're running away because they're scared that those 6 fairies will come back and kill everyone. But then, because Ling Huchong was too hurt, he couldn't walk, right? He couldn't do all that traveling, so they had to leave him behind under the care of Lu Dayou, which is his best friend. So they leave him behind, and then they go. But then that night, I believe, Yue Lingshan, his apprentice sister, and also the daughter of the master, she sneaks back in and gives Ling Huchong the Divine Arts of Violet Twilight manuscript. Okay, so it's a manuscript. It's a rare manuscript of the school that has this martial arts that Ling Huchong can train to get himself cured, right? To make himself feel better. The master didn't want to give it to him because it's a secret manuscript from the school, and he didn't want it to get into the wrong hands. So, but then his daughter steals it and gives it to Ling Huchong. Then she leaves, but then Ling Huchong wouldn't study, right? He refuses to study it because it's stolen, right? And he's a good student. He's a good and loyal student, so he wouldn't train. But then Lu Dayou decides to read for him, and he just keeps reading the book for him as Ling Huchong is lying there and dying. And he keeps on doing it, and Ling Huchong keeps saying like, "Oh no, don't stop reading it for me." But Lu Dayou wouldn't stop, and he keeps on reading it until finally Ling Huchong had enough, and he seals Lu Dayou's pressure point. Okay, which means he freezes him, and so that he would stop reading. Now this freeze, he says this freeze only lasts for a few hours. So he freezes him temporarily, and then Ling Huchong walks out of the room and out of the school, I believe. And we don't know where he goes, but he just walks out. All right, that's the recap. So that's what happened last time. How was that? Dun, dun, dun. People who eat pizza with a knife and fork think chopstick chip eaters are weird. Yeah, sometimes I do eat pizza with a knife and fork, actually. If I don't want to get my fingers dirty. Yeah. I'm one of those, Nikki. I'm one of those. How do you guys eat? Okay, when you guys eat fried chicken, right? How do you hold it? Do you hold it like this? Do you grip it like a freaking barbarian? Or do you hold it like with 4 fingers or 3 fingers? I try to hold it with just 2 fingers, and just enough, right? Just the smallest number of fingers, so I don't get the rest of my fingers dirty. Yeah, that's right. I don't like getting oil on my fingers. Gabriel says it calls them fairies and they seem good-hearted, yet it also describes them as ugly. So these fairies, they're not actual fairies. They don't have little wings behind them. That's their name, right? So their name is the Peach Valley 6 Fairies. They're not actually fairies. They're old dudes. I think what are they, like 70, 80 years old? So I picture them as like short, old dudes. Short, old dudes. Maybe gnomes? Maybe gnomes are too short, but they're like short, old dudes, okay? And they're ugly. They're supposed to be really ugly. Gyro says, freaking fairies are so metal. They want to rip people apart. They do. They love ripping people apart into 4 pieces. If I can cut off the meat. Wait. Whole chicken with only as many fingers as it takes, right? Obviously. Don't be a barbarian. Okay, let's go. All right, chapter 12, part 1, Assassins. So now Ling Huchong is walking out, right? He just walked out of the school. For every 100 feet, Ling Huchong had to take a break and lean on the door bolt to catch his breath. All right, so the door bolt is not actually a bolt, like a metal bolt, because he's not leaning on a gigantic metal bolt. That doesn't make any sense. A door bolt is like it's a plank, right, that you use to hold the door open. Or, sorry, a plank that you use to hold the door closed, right? So doors have these hooks, and then you put the plank on so that you can't open the doors. So he's walking out with a door bolt with this plank because he can't walk by himself. So he's that hurt, right? He's very hurt. He's about to die. After about an hour of struggle, he managed to cover somewhat close to a quarter of a mile. He could see more and more golden flickers circle around him, and suddenly the entire world swirled around him. He almost fell down. Then he heard loud groans coming from inside the bushes right in front of him. "Who's there?" Ling Huchong asked, stunned. "Is that Brother Ling Hu?" the man called out. "It's me, Tian Bo Guang. Ouch! Whew." He was obviously in great pain. "Tian, Brother Tian, what happened to you?" Ling Huchong asked in shock. "I am dying. Brother Ling Hu, do me a favor, will you? Ouch, ouch. Go ahead and kill me to end my misery," Tian Bo Guang begged. He groaned as he spoke, but his voice remained loud and clear. Are you wounded?" Ling Huchong asked, but in the meantime his knees gave out. He fell down and rolled to the roadside. "Are you wounded too?" Tian Bo Guang asked in shock. "Ouch, ouch. Who did it to you?" "That's a long story. Tian, Brother Tian, so who did that to you?" "Alas, I don't know," Tian Bo Guang answered. "How come?" Ling Huchong asked. "I was just walking on the road, and suddenly someone grabbed my 2 legs and 2 arms and lifted me off the ground. I couldn't even see who did it," Tian Bo Guang answered. "I think we know who did it." "So, it's the Peach Valley 6 fairies again. Why, Brother Tian, aren't you in the same team?" Ling Huchong grinned. "What do you mean we are in the same team?" Tian Bo Guang was at a loss. "You came to invite me to go see little apprentice sister, Yi Lin. They also came to invite me to go see her." Ling Huchong started panting. Tian Bo Guang crawled slowly out of the bush. "God damn it! We are definitely not in the same team," Tian Bo Guang swore as he shook his head angrily. "They came up Mount Huashan looking for a guy and asked me where the guy was. So I asked them who they were looking for. But they said that since they caught me, they get to ask me questions and I don't get to ask them anything. If I had caught them, then I would get to ask them questions and they would not get to ask me anything. They said that if I got skills, it would be totally fine for me to lift them up, and then it would be my turn to ask them questions." That sounds like them, all right. Ling Huchong laughed out loud, but only after a few laughs, he was already out of breath and had to stop. "At that time, I was still hanging in midair, facing down. How the heck could I lift them up, even if I did have superb skills? What kind of horse dung was that?" "So what happened next?" Ling Huchong asked. "I said, I never wanted to ask you. You are the ones asking here. Put me down." Then one of them said, "Since we've already lifted you up, if we don't rip you into 4 pieces, wouldn't it look real bad for us 6 great heroes?" Another one asked, Will he still be able to talk after we rip him into 4 pieces?" Tian Bo Guang paused to catch his breath. "Those 6 guys always resort to sophistry and tangle things in a mess. Brother Tian, that's enough. Enough of the story." Ling Huchang said. Huh, the hell with them. Xiang Boguang cursed and went on. Then one of them said, Duh, of course a guy in 4 pieces can't talk. The 6 of us have ripped hundreds of people into 4 pieces before. When did you ever hear any of them talk after we ripped them apart? Another one argued, the reason why a guy in 4 pieces doesn't talk is because we never asked him to. If we were to ask him anything, I am sure he wouldn't dare not to answer. Then a third one mocked, he is already in 4 pieces, but what's there to be afraid of? There's no point for him to dare. Would he be afraid that we'd rip him to 8 pieces? The previous one said, rip him into 8 pieces? That kung fu is no small matter. We used to know that kung fu, but we must have forgotten it already. Tian Boguang told the story in a disjointed manner. It was amazing that he memorized every little bit of it, while being inflicted with serious injuries. The live stream is restricted. I don't know what that means. Seems fine to me. Those 6 brothers are surely the rare kind in this world. They got me pretty good too, Ling Huchang said with a sigh. So, Brother Ling Hu, they wounded you too? Xiang Boguang asked in astonishment. Unfortunately so. Ling Huchang heaved another sigh. To tell you the truth, when I was hanging in midair, I was really scared. So I shouted loudly, if you rip me into 4 pieces, I won't talk for sure. Even if my tongue is still capable of talking, I would be so pissed in my heart that I definitely wouldn't talk. One of them said, once we rip you into 4 pieces, your tongue is on one piece and your heart is on another piece. How can you still relate to what your tongue is going to say with what you feel in your heart? That was when I decided to throw nonsense right back at them. So I shouted, if you want to ask your question, better ask it quick. If you don't put me down right away, I'm gonna let out my poisonous gas now. One of them asked, let out your poisonous gas? What do you mean? I said, my farts stink like hell. Once it reaches you, you would not only lose your appetite for at least 3 days and 3 nights, you would also throw up so badly that even the stuff you ate 3 days ago would come back out of your mouth. I've warned you. Don't blame me for not telling you ahead of time. That's a really stinky fart. Hey, good point, Ling Huchang remarked with a weak smile. Yep, Xiang Boguang replied. As soon as those 4 guys heard my words, they all cried out in unison and threw me back down to the ground before leaping back. I jumped back onto my feet and then saw 6 very odd-looking old folks, each covering his nose tightly with his hand, obviously afraid of my stinking farts. Brother Ling Hu, did you say that those 6 guys are called something like Peach Valley 6 Fairies? That's right. Alas, too bad that I am not as smart as you, Brother Tian, and didn't think of the stinking fart stratagem to scare them off. This stratagem of yours is really no less than the empty city stratagem Zhuge Liang used to scared away Sima Yu's army. Tian Boguang let out a few hollow laughs and spilled out some more curses before continuing on with his story. I knew that those 6 guys are not to be trifled with, but as luck would have it, I left my blade on top of your cliff of contemplation. So I figured that I'd better make it the banana and split. The hell? But those 6 guys had already stood in front of me in a line with their hands still covering their noses and blocked my way like a wall made of flesh. None of them dared to stand behind my back, though. Seeing that there was no way I could make my way through, I turned around immediately. But who would have thought that those 6 guys could move like ghosts and somehow had already circled around to block in front of me again? I turned a couple more times, but still could not get rid of them. So I walked backwards, step after step, until my back touched the precipice wall. The 6 freaks burst with joy and chortled as they asked again and again, "Where is he? Where is that guy?" I asked, "Who are you looking for?" Those 6 freaks said in unison, "We have surrounded you. You've got nowhere to go. You must answer our question." One of them said, "If it were you who have surrounded us and we've got nowhere to go, then you could ask us and we would have to answer your questions." Another one argued, He is only by himself. How will he be able to surround the 6 of us? The previous one said. What if he had superb skills and could beat the 6 of us all by himself? The second one said. Then he is capable of beating us, not surrounding us. The previous one said. But what if he drove us into a cave and blocked this entrance so blocked the entrance so none of us could get out? Wouldn't you call that surrounding? The second one argued. That's called blocking, not surrounding. The previous one said. Then what if he extends his arms and embraces all of us into his arms? Now that's definitely called surrounding. The second one argued. First, nobody in this world has arms that long. Second, even if there are really people who have arms that long, this guy here does not. Third, even if he could embrace all of us with his arms, that's called embracing, not surrounding. The previous one pulled a long face and didn't know how to argue that. Yet he didn't want to admit his defeat. After a few moments of dazing, he suddenly broke into loud laughter. That's it. If he keeps farting and surrounds us with his stinky gas so we couldn't run away, wouldn't you call that surrounding? The other 4 freaks applauded and agreed in laughter. He's right. This chap surely can surround us. An idea suddenly struck me. Wasting no time, I started running at once, and while shouting, I am surrounding you now. I figured, since they are so afraid of my farts, surely they wouldn't go after me. But who would have thought those 6 freaks had lightning fast speed? Only after a few steps, they had already grabbed hold of me. As soon as they caught me, they pressed down hard with tight grips and forced me to sit on top of a big rock, so that even if I did fart, my stinking gas wouldn't come out. Wow, what a story. Oh, fart is the kappa killer. Nice one, Nico. That's right, and it shouldn't be restricted. I have my clothes on. I still have my clothes on. For now. You would love to see this acted out? Me too. Someone should get on that. Ling Hu Chong couldn't help but burst into loud laughter. Only after a few laughs, he felt great uneasiness from his chest and stopped laughing abruptly. Tian Boguang went on. After those 6 freaks placed their tight grips on me, one of them asked, where does one's gas come from? Another one answered, gas comes from one's intestines. Then of course it belongs to the Yangming intestine channel. I'd better seal his Shangyang, Hegui, Hegu, Chuqi, and Yingqiang, those points. Right after those words, he had already sealed those 4 points with a single wave. I've never seen such lightning fast, yet extremely accurate point sealing techniques. That was something. I couldn't help but admire him. After he sealed my points, all 6 freaks let out a breath of relief, as if relieved of a heavy load. They said, this stinking fart tank won't be able to release his stinking gas now. The one who sealed my points asked again, hey, where on earth is that guy? If you don't tell us, we'll never release your sealed points. Think about it, having gas, yet not being able to let it out, you are gonna feel really bloated. I thought to myself that when 6 freaks with such outstanding kung fu skills came to Mount Huashan, it's obvious that they wouldn't be looking for any ordinary person. Brother Ling Hu, at that time your respectful master, Mr. Yue, and his wife weren't on Mount Huashan. Even if they had come back then, of course, they would be back in the House of Integrity and would be very easy to locate. I thought about it back and forth and could only come up with one logical answer. Those 6 freaks must be looking for your grand uncle master, Grandmaster Feng. Ling Hu Chong felt a shock in his heart. Did you tell them? He asked in a hurry. Bah! What kind of person do you think I am? Remember, Grandmaster Feng is the guy who taught him, taught Ling Hu Chong the great martial arts called Dugu 9 Swords. Right, and then he just left afterwards. Bah! What kind of person do you think I am? Tian Boguang was very displeased. I have already promised you that I would never let out Grandmaster Feng's whereabouts. Are you saying that I, a gallant man, was just talking out of my ass? Pardon me, Brother Tian. My bad. Please don't mind. Ling Hu Chong apologized. If you still look down upon me, we'd better just sever at one blow. Make it a clean break. And starting from now, we are no friends. Ling Hu Chong remained silent and thought to himself, You are the evil rapist that everyone in the martial world holds in contempt. Who would ever consider you a friend? But since you could have killed me multiple times, yet you never did, so I guess I do owe you a debt of gratitude. In the darkness, Tianbo Guang couldn't get a good look at Ling Huchong's expression. Assuming that Ling Huchong's silence meant his compromise, he continued on. Those six freaks just kept asking me. I said loudly, I know the whereabouts of this person, but I will never tell. There are countless of peaks and valleys and caves on Mount Huashan. I am not going to tell you, and you will never find him in this life. Those six freaks were enraged. They tormented and tortured me, but I simply ignored them afterwards. Brother Linghu, those six freaks' kung fu skills are very eccentric. You'd better go tell Grandmaster Feng quickly. Even though his sword skills are splendid, it's still better prepared than getting surprised. Tianbo Guang mentioned that the six freaks tormented and tortured me in a very casual way, but Ling Huchong could easily imagine how much cruel and brutal torments actually were put on him and how much excruciating pain and suffering he had to endure. The six freaks had good intentions when they tried to heal his wounds, and what happened? Even though he was still suffering from the consequence, even now he was still suffering from the consequence. When they coerced Tianbo Guang into telling the answer, it was not hard to imagine how nasty they could be. Feeling quite sorry for Tianbo Guang, he said to him, You are a true man who keeps his words. You would rather die than let out my granduncle Uncle Master Feng's whereabouts. But those Peach Valley six fairies were really looking for me, not my granduncle master. Looking for you? Why are they looking for you? Tianbo Guang felt a big shock going through his entire body. They're just like you, and were asked by my little apprentice sister Yilin to invite me to go see her, Ling Huchong answered. That left Tianbo Guang completely traumatized. He opened his mouth wide, yet nothing came out of it except deep groans. After a long while, Tianbo Guang finally came back to his senses and spoke again. If I had known those six freaks were looking for you, I would have told them everything right away. Once those six freaks invite you over, I can just follow behind instead of rotting here on Mount Huashan, dying from the poison. Well, if those six freaks got you, how come they didn't carry you to go see the little sister? Remember, Tianbo Guang is suffering from poison. Remember, because the guy or whoever it was that told Tianbo Guang to get Ling Huchong down from the mountains poisoned him, right? And would only give him the antidote if he succeeded in bringing Ling Huchong down from the mountains. That's really a long story. Ling Huchong heaved a deep sigh. Brother Tian, did you say something about rotting here on Huashan, dying from the poison? Didn't I tell you earlier that someone sealed my death points and planted strong poison in my body so he could compel me to inviting you over within 1 month to meet that little sister? Only after I completed the mission successfully would he release my points and give me the antidote. But I could neither invite you over nor take you there by force, and ended up having wounds all over me from the torturing of those six freaks. It's only like 10 days away from the date the poison is scheduled to activate. Where is little apprentice sister Yilin? How many days do you think it will take to get there? Ling Huchong asked. You are willing to go now? Tianbo Guang asked. You spared my life on more than one occasion. Although you had many improper behaviors, I can't just watch you die of poison for my sake, right in front of my eyes. On that day, when you tried to coerce me into complying, of course I would not bend. But it's a completely different situation now, Ling Huchong answered. The little sister is in Shaanxi province. Alas, if we were still fit, it wouldn't take more than 6 or 7 days to get there on fast horses. But since we are both in such bad shape, forget about it, Tianbo Guang commented. I am only waiting for my final time here on Mount Huashan anyway. I'll go with you. Who knows? Maybe God will give his blessings. So we will be able to hire some fast wagons that will take us to Shanxi province within 10 days, Ling Huchong suggested. I have committed countless crimes in my life and harmed many innocent people. Why would God give me his blessings? Unless God had gone blind, Tian Boguang grinned. Sometimes God does go blind. We are going to die anyway. There's nothing to lose for trying it out. That's right. What's the difference whether I die on the road or on Mount Huashan? Tian Boguang applauded. I think the first thing we need to do is to go down the mountain to find something to eat. Ever since I was dumped here, I could only eat unripe chestnuts off the ground. I am really craving for some decent food. Can you get up? Let me give you a hand. He offered to give a hand, yet couldn't even get up himself. Ling Huchong wanted to give him a prop, but didn't have any strength either. The two of them struggled for a while, but achieved no progress whatsoever. Suddenly, both of them burst into loud laughter. I've been wandering in the martial world for years, yet to find any bosom friend. What? Let me read that again. I've been wandering in the martial world for years, yet to find any bosom friend. Bosom? Bosom? How do you pronounce that? Bosom? 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 But today, I get to die here together with Brother Ling Hu. What a joy it is, Tian Boguang said. Later, when my master sees our corpses, he probably would assume that the two of us have ended in a common ruin after a fierce fight. Who would have guessed that we were still calling each other brothers before we kicked the bucket? Ling Wuchang let out a grin. Bosom. Bosom. Is that right? Bosom. Alright, you guys are saying it like weirdly. I'm seeing conflicting information in the chat. Let's see what Google says.
Bosom.
Bosom. Bosom.
Bosom.
Bosom.
Bosom.
Bosom.
Bosom.
He wants a bosom buddy? His bosom friend. Later, Tian Boguang reached out with his hand. Brother Ling Hu, let's shake hands before we die. Ling Huchong hesitated. Obviously, Tian Boguang wanted to be intimate friends with him and share a common destiny, but Tian was the notorious evil rapist, and he was the disciple of a reputable sword school. How could he make friends with someone like Tian? That day, when he beat Tian several times in the contests and spared his life each time, he could still attribute that to the fact that Tian spared his life multiple times first. But to still mangle up with him today really couldn't be justified at all. With those thoughts, he reached out with his hand, but stopped halfway. Dun, dun, dun. So bosom. A friend close to your heart. Yeah, I figured that's what that meant. A friend close to your boobs. The best kind of friends. Tian Boguang only thought that Ling Huchong's wounds were too severe, that he simply didn't have enough strength to move his arm. So he said loudly, Brother Ling Hu, you are my intimate friend now. Now they're friends. If you die because of your wounds before I die, I swear that I will not stay living alone. Touched by the sincerity in Tian Boguang's words, Ling Huchong thought, he surely deserves to be called a true friend. So he reached out with his hands and held Tian's right hand. Brother Tian, at least we won't be heading to the underworld alone and die a lonely death, Ling Huchong said with a smile. Before his words even faded, he suddenly heard a gloomy sneer rise from behind his back. Uh-oh. Then a voice said, "Who would have expected the head apprentice of the Huashan Sword School, Qi Branch, to have sunk so low and made friends with a notorious evil rapist?" "Who are you?" Jiang Boguang yelled out. Death Pact. I think they're best friends now. Or like blood brothers. Alright. Give me 5 minutes. Alright. I'll be right back. In the meantime, I'll play you guys a song. Dun, 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 dun. I don't have YouTube Red, so I have ads. You'll hear some ads. Come on. Alright, be right back. That was like 3 minutes. That was so fast. Yes, I took a potty break. You are correct. You're correct. You saw something creamy like gone bad and I ate it. Did you? No, those chips were okay. I'm fine. Dun, 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 dun. All right. I have something else to eat. Ooh, Takis. This is Choco Mint. Chocolate and mint, I believe. So these are always good. Wash that pizza taste out of my mouth. Mmm, nom noms. Oh, so good. Can't go wrong with chocolate and mint. The matcha flavor is really good. I know. I did have the matcha flavor on stream. Like, I don't know. But I did have it on stream once. It was very good. Watermelon is good too. Nope, not peppermint. It is mint. All right. So, Ling Hu Chong just made a boob friend. Good for him. Too bad his boob friend is an evil criminal. Look about as sweaty as you right now. I'm not sweaty. God damn it! It's the lights. It's the lights. It's actually pretty cold right now. Yeah. Yeah. I turned off the heater because I don't want it interfering with the sound. But it's pretty cold. Alright, where was I? Where was I? Okay, someone just interrupted them. And Ling Huchong couldn't help but groan inwardly. It's no big deal that I am gonna die from my severe wounds, but now I've just put Master's reputation in jeopardy. How terrible. In the darkness, he could vaguely see a shadow standing next to him, with a long sword in his hand. The blade flashed dimly from the starlight. Ling Huchong, it's still not too late to take back what you said. Take this sword and waste that Tian named evil rapist. Then nobody will condemn you for making friends with him, the shadow said with a sneer as he threw his sword down, which cut into the ground and stood by its own. Ling Huchong noticed that the blade of the sword was wide and broad. It was the type of sword used by the Songshan sword school. So he asked, "Which respectful member of the Songshan sword school are you?" "You surely have sharp eyes. I am Di Xiu from Songshan sword school," the man answered. "So, it's apprentice brother Di. We haven't had much chance to get to know each other. What respectful business are you tending here on Mount Huashan?" Ling Huchong asked. "Head Uncle Master gave me the order." Wait, what voice should we give this guy? A kind of a high, annoying voice? Because he seems like a bad guy. "Head Uncle Master gave me the order to come to Mount Huashan and go on a trip of inspection to check if apprentices of the Huashan Sword School are really having bad conduct, as the rumor says." "I didn't expect to hear you speak straight from the heart about making friends with that evil rapist right after I climb up Mount Huashan. Didn't see that coming at all," Dishu answered. "You goddamn punk! You think your Songshan Sword School is any better? Why don't you go check on your own ill behavior before poking your nose into other people's business?" Tian Boguang cursed. Dishu raised his foot and threw a heavy kick at Tian Boguang's head. "Your end is imminent, and you still won't shut your dirty mouth," he yelled. But Tian Boguang kept pouring out streams of abuses non-stop. It would have been a walkover if Di Xiu had wanted to kill Tian Boguang, but he decided to give Ling Huchong a good amount of humiliation first. Give him a raspy, shady voice? Raspy voices are hard on my throat. I'll stick with this voice, and then the next shady person will use that raspy, shady voice, if I can do it. "Ling Huchong," he sneered, "since the two of you find each other's stinks congenial, I suppose you've made up your mind not to kill him." Ling Huchong was furious. He yelled loudly, "Whether I kill him or not, it's none of your business. Give me the death blow if you got any guts. If you have no guts, then get your tail between your legs and get your ass off Mount Huashan." "So, you are sure you won't kill him, and would rather consider that evil rapist your good friend?" Dixio asked. "No matter who I have as my friend, it beats having you as a friend," Ling Huchong answered. "Right on! Way to go!" Tian Boguang cheered loudly. "You just want to enrage me and provoke me into killing the two of you with a single blow. It's not going to be that easy. I am going to strip off your clothes and tie you two together naked. Then I'll seal your mute point and put on a tour of display around the martial world. I'll tell everyone that I caught a macho guy and a sissy boy right here when they were doing the illicit, dirty stuff. Your master Yue Buchun of the Huashan Sword School always pretends benevolence and righteousness and puts on a face of a Confucian moralist to fool people. After today, would he still dare to call himself Gentleman's Sword?" These words made Ling Huchong's anger explode, which knocked him out cold. He just fainted because he was so hurt. "Go to hell, you!" Tian Bogong cursed, but his voice halted abruptly when Di Chiu sealed his pressure point around his waist with a swift kick. With an evil grin on his face, Di Chiu reached out to start untying Ling Huchong's robe. Oh, he's actually going to do it. He's gonna strip them naked and tie them to each other. Suddenly, a soft and brisk female voice rose behind his back. "Hello, big brother. What are you doing here?" You like that? In great surprise, Dishu turned his head around for a glance. In the dim light, he could vaguely make out the shape of a woman. So he responded, "What are you doing here?" Tiabo Guang immediately recognized the girl's voice. It was none other than Yi Lin's voice. Yay, she's back. With a tremendous amount of joy, he shouted, "Little sister, it's you! That's wonderful! This goddamned rat wants to kill your big brother Ling Hu." He was going to say, "This goddamn rat wants to kill me," but then a quick thought came upon him. Yi Lin wouldn't care about me much at all, so he quickly changed that to "your big brother Ling Hu." Hearing that the chat likes Yi Lin. Hearing that the man lying on the ground was actually Ling Hu Chong, Yi Lin was greatly worried. Wasting no time, she leapt forward and called out, "Big brother Ling Hu, is that you?" Noticing how preoccupied Yi Lin was and how she put on no guard against him, Li Xiu bent his arm slightly and jabbed toward her pressure points under her rib cage with his index finger. His finger was just about to touch her clothes when suddenly his back collar tightened up as someone lifted him several feet off the ground. Terrified, Li Xiu elbowed back with his right arm, but it hit nothing. He immediately followed with a back kick using his left foot, but it hit nothing either. Horrified, he grabbed back with his hands when a huge hand came to his throat with a tight grip. Instantly, he could hardly breathe and lost all his strength to struggle. By the time Ling Hu Chong slowly regained his consciousness, the first thing he noticed was a girl's worried voice calling out, "Big brother Ling Hu! Big brother Ling Hu!" It sounded vaguely like the voice of Yi Lin. He opened his eyes, and sure enough, under the dim starlight, the pretty white face right in front of his eyes was none other than Yi Lin's. A thundering voice suddenly exploded. "Ling Er! Is this cripple the Ling Hu Chong you have mentioned?" Ling Hu Chong looked up toward the origin of the voice, and what he saw shocked him. A chubby and enormous giant monk stood there, more like an iron tower than a human. The monk was at least 7 feet tall. He extended his left arm out horizontally and lifted Dishu off the ground. Dishu's arms hang still by his side. It was hard to tell if he was still breathing or not. "Dad, he is Big Brother Ling Hu, but he is not a cripple," Yi Lin said. She never took her eyes off Ling Hu Chong when she spoke, and her eyes were filled with care, concern, and affection. It almost looked as if she really wanted to reach out to caress Ling Hu Chong's face, but was afraid to do it. Ling Hu Chong was astounded. He couldn't help but think to himself, "You are a little nun. How come you are calling this giant monk Dad?" A monk having a daughter is already shocking. Now when his daughter is actually a nun is simply appalling. The giant monk let out some more thunder-like laughter. "You yearned for this Ling Hu Chong days and nights. I thought he must be a bulky and heroic-looking guy. It turned out he's just a tiny loser who couldn't even fight back when bullied and had to pretend to be dead on the ground. What a cripple. I'd never want him as my son-in-law. Forget about him. Let's go." "Who said I yearned for him? Who said I yearned for him days and nights?" Yi Lin rebuked him in great embarrassment. You always like to talk nonsense. If you want to go, you can go by yourself. You don't want. She simply couldn't repeat the words, "don't want him as son-in-law." Hearing that this monk had referred to him again and again as a cripple and a loser, Ling Hu Chong became furious. "Go as you wish. Who asked you to stay?" he scorned. You can't go! Tian Boguang shouted in worry. "Why can't he go?" Ling Hu Chong asked. "I need him to release my death points." Ah, so this was the guy who did it. "I also need his antidotes for the strong poison planted in me. If he leaves, I am dead and gone," Tian Boguang said. "Are you afraid now? I said that I'd die together with you, didn't I? Once your poison activates, I'll just cut my throat and go along with you." The giant monk chortled, and the thundering sound echoed in the valley. Excellent. So this lad actually has some backbone. Lin Er, Lin Er is like an affectionate way of calling a person's name. Like, is it like your like you would call your daughter? Someone in the chat tell me. So like he calls her Lin Er. But there's one more thing I have to get a clear answer. Does he drink wine or not? Before Yilin even had a chance to answer, Ling Huchang had already yelled out, I certainly do. Why not? Your old man here drinks in the mornings, in the evenings, and in my dreams. Once you get to see how addicted I am, I assure you that you'll tremble with rage because you are a damn monk whose commandments prohibit you from eating flesh, drinking wine, killing people, saying lies, and blah blah blah. Lin Er, you tell him. What's your dad's name for the Buddhist order? The giant monk broke into a loud laughter. So yeah, okay, so is like Chan. Lin Chan. That's what he's saying. Big brother Ling Hu, my dad's name in the Buddhist order is called No Commandment, Yulin explained with a smile. He is a member of the Buddhist order, but he doesn't follow any of the regulations, taboos, and commandments for Buddhists. That's why his name in the Buddhist order is called No Commandment. Now, please don't laugh at this. He drinks wine, eats flesh, kills people, steals money, and even gave birth to me. At that final word, she could no longer hold her amusement and broke into giggles. So it's a monk that doesn't follow any of the rules of being a monk. Hey, I am very delighted to meet monks of this type. Ling Huchang burst into loud laughter. He struggled to stand up, but was short of enough strength. Yulin rushed to prod him up. Uncle, Ling Huchang said with a smile, since you are open to all kinds of things, why don't you simply resume secular life? There's no need to put yourself in this Buddhist robe. Aha! There's something you don't know. Because I am open to all things, that's how I decide to become a monk. I fell in love with a beautiful nun, just like you. Monk No Commandment explained, Dad, you are talking nonsense without thinking again. Yilin cut him off. Her face was completely red from a blush. Fortunately, it was dark at night, so no one noticed it. A true man is always open and above board. I did it, and I admit it, regardless of how others laugh at me or condemn me. Monk No Commandment is a true man that speaks the truth. What's there to be afraid of? Monk No Commandment replied. Precisely, Ling Huchang and Tian Boguang cheered in unison. Hearing the agreements, Monk No Commandment was quite pleased, so he continued. The beautiful nun that I fell in love with was, of course, her mother. Turned out that little apprentice sister Yilin's dad is a monk, and her mother is a nun, Ling Huchang thought to himself, amusedly. Monk No Commandment went on. I was a butcher at that time, and fell in love with her mother, but her mother paid no attention to me. I was at my wit's end and had no other choice but to join the Buddhist order. I thought that since nuns and monks are all members of the Buddhist order, like a big family, then when a nun doesn't love a butcher, maybe she would love a monk. Dad, when are you going to watch your mouth before you speak? You are already a grown-up, but you still talk like a kid, Yilin said with a spat. Did I speak the untruth? But at that time, I didn't realize that once one becomes a monk, he can no longer go out with any woman, not even nuns. And it was actually more difficult for me to date her mom. So I didn't want to be a monk no more. But my teacher insisted that I had some kind of trait perfect for a member of the Buddhist order. So he refused to let me resume secular life. Her mother somehow got muddle-headed and was deeply moved by my true love. And soon this little nun came into this world. Chong, it's much easier for you now. You don't have to join the Buddhist order and become a monk to date my little nun daughter. Ling Huchang was greatly embarrassed. He thought to himself, when apprentice sister Yilin was taken prisoner by Tian Boguang, I put in my effort following the righteous course. She is a nun from the Hangshan Sword School who believes in Buddhism. How can she get involved into a love relationship with any secular man? It was probably only because she met men close to her age the first time and lost control of herself temporarily that she sent Tianpo Guang and Peach Valley 6 fairies to invite me over. I must avoid her as soon as possible. If the reputation of the Huashan Sword School and the Hangshan Sword School were damaged in any way because of me, even if I died, master and master wife would still condemn me, and little apprentice sister Ling Shan would still look down upon me. Yilin looked very bashful. Dad, big brother Ling Hu already has the person of his heart. He would never pay attention to others. You'd better never mention that again. You would only get laughed at. This chap has another lover? This is pissing me off! Monk No Commandment yelled angrily. He reached forward with his right arm. The huge palm, also almost as big as a cattail leaf fan, shot at Ling Huchong's chest. Ling Huchong couldn't even keep his balance, let alone dodge the attack. The hand got a good grip of Ling Huchong's robe and lifted him off the ground. With his left hand grabbing at Disu's back collar and his right hand grabbing at Ling Huchong's chest, Monk No Commandment extended both of his arms out flat and looked as if he was carrying the two with a shoulder pull. Ling Huchong didn't have much strength to start with. Now in the midair, he hung there like a ragged bag. Dad, put big brother Ling Hu down immediately. If you don't put him down, I am gonna be angry now, Yilin shouted in a hurry. As soon as Monk No Commandment heard the word angry from his daughter, he dropped Ling Huchong in no time, looking very afraid. Which beautiful little nun did he set his eyes on? This is outrageous, he babbled. Since he had fallen in love with a beautiful nun, he felt that other than beautiful nuns, there wasn't anyone else who deserved to be loved. The person of big brother Ling Hu's heart is his apprentice sister, Miss Yue, Yilin explained. Monk No Commandment let out a loud roar, which created an uncomfortable buzz in everyone's ears. Who's this girl named Yue? He yelled. Damn it! If she isn't a beautiful little nun, what's so lovely about her? I'll break the damn girl's little neck as soon as I see her. Ling Huchong thought aloud. This Monk No Commandment is a crude and reckless man. He is similar to the Peach Valley 6 fairies in a sense. Seems that he will live up to his words. What if he really harms the little apprentice sister? Dad, big brother Ling Hu is severely wounded. Please hurry to heal his wounds. There's plenty of time to talk over other things later, Yilin suggested, feeling greatly worried. Monk No Commandment had always acted upon whatever his daughter said. That's fine. Let's heal his wounds. What's so difficult about that? He said. He tossed Disu behind his back with a random wave and then asked Ling Huchong loudly, How are you wounded? Cries of pain continued as Disu rolled down the small hill. Like it was nothing. I took a palm strike from someone on my chest, but that wasn't critical, Ling Huchong replied. Palm strike on the chest? He must have shaken your Ren passage. Pretty good, Monk No Commandment concluded. The Peach Valley, Ling Huchong tried to explain. There's no whatever Peach Valley in the Ren passage, Monk No Commandment cut him off. Your Huashan School's inner energy is no good. No wonder you don't understand. Sure, there's one called Combined Valley Points among the various human pressure points, but that belongs to the hand-to-intestine Yang Ming channel, and is positioned right between thumb and index finger. It has nothing to do with the Ren passage. Very well, let me heal your wounds in the Ren passage. No. The Peach Valley 6, Ling Huchong said in a hurry. What Peach Valley 6, Peach Valley 7? Monk No Commandment waved him off. Among the various pressure points, there's hand 3 Li, foot 3 Li, Yin Ling Huang, and Yixi Da. Where did Peach Valley 6 or Peach Valley 7 come from? Now shut up and stop the nonsense. At that word, he swung his hand and sealed Ling Huchong's mute point. I'll send my supreme inner energy into your Ren passage through the Chengjiang down to blah 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 points. Your wound will heal as soon as my energy flows through. I bet that after 7 or 8 days, you'll be back to normal. As cool as a cucumber, Monk No Commandment said as he reached out with the 2 fan-sized hands. He placed his right hand on the Chengqiang point by Ling Hucheng's chin, and his left hand on the Zhongji point by Ling Hucheng's lower abdomen, and then started sending 2 streams of inner energy in through the 2 pressure points. All of a sudden, he felt a tremendous shock from his hands as the 2 streams of energy clashed with the 6 energy streams left by the Peach Valley 6 fairies. Astounded, he uttered a cry of surprise. Dad, how did it go? Yilin asked in a hurry. There are several bizarre energy streams in his body, Monk No Commandment responded. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are a total of 4. Wait, there's one more. There's a total of 5 energy streams. These 5 energy streams. Another one came out. What the hell? 6 streams of energy. Fine, let's see who's tougher. Your goddamned 6 energy streams or my 2 streams of energy. Maybe there's even more. Kinda crowded, huh? This is so much fun. Come on, come and get me. Huh, no more, right? There are only 6. Do you think that I, Monk No Commandment, would be afraid of you puny rascals? He pressed hard on the 2 pressure points of Ling Hucheng's, and white steam began to come out from the top of his head. At the beginning, he was still able to call out, but soon, as he worked hard to gather more and more inner energy, he had no strength left to make any sound. By then, it was almost time for daybreak, and it was getting brighter and brighter. The white steam on top of his head became thicker and thicker, as if a heavy mist had completely surrounded his giant head. After a long while, he finally drew his hands back and burst into loud laughter. Suddenly, the laughter halted abruptly, and with a heavy thump, Monk No Commandment collapsed down to the ground. In great astonishment, Yilin cried out, Dad! Dad! She dashed by his side to help him up, but Monk No Commandment was simply too heavy. Only halfway up, the 2 fell back down to the ground again. Monk No Commandment's clothes were soaked with sweat. Panting heavily, he still cursed in a trembling voice. God damned! Hearing curses from him, Yilin relaxed a little. Dad, what's wrong? Are you exhausted? She asked. Damn it! Monk No Commandment cussed. There are 6 streams of tough energy inside the lad's body, and they wanted to have a fight with me. Damn it! I gathered up my inner energy. I have already overpowered those 6 streams of weird energy. Huh, you can relax now. This lad won't die. Yilin felt great comfort. She turned around to look, and sure enough, saw Ling Hucheng stand up, slowly. Hey, the monk's inner energy is pretty tough indeed. It only took him minutes to heal Brother Ling Hu's severe wounds, Tian Boguang praised with a smile. Monk No Commandment was quite pleased to hear the praise. He replied, You have committed countless crimes. I was thinking of killing you with a simple squeeze. But since you did find the lad Ling Hucheng and do deserve a little bit of credit, I'm going to spare your life. Now get your ass out of here. Tian Boguang was furious. He cursed. What the devil are you talking about? You goddamn monk. What kind of garbage is that? You said that if I found Ling Hucheng for you within 1 month, you would release my sealed death points and give me the antidote to the poison. Are you going back on your words? If you don't release my points and give me the antidote, then you are no better than a filthy pig, you goddamned monk. These vicious curses didn't anger Monk No Commandment at all. He grinned. Look at this thinking chap. Look at the coward. Look at the coward. Look on him, afraid that I, Monk No Commandment, would go back on my words and not give him the antidote. You dirty skunk. Here's the antidote. He reached into his pocket for the antidote, but because of the great strength he had just spent on Ling Hucheng, his hand couldn't help but tremble. The china bottle fell out of his hands multiple times. Yilin reached over and picked up the bottle, then opened the lid. Give him 3 pills. Take the first pill, and then wait 3 days before taking another one. After that, take another 6 days. Wait another 6 days before taking the third one. But if you get killed during the 9 days, don't you blame it on me, Monk No Commandment said. Hey monk, you forced me to take poison and now gave me the antidote. I am already being nice by not cursing you. Don't expect me to thank you for that. Now how about my sealed death points? Jiang Boguang asked as he took the antidote from Yilin's hands. Those pressure points I sealed had released automatically after 7 days. If I had really sealed your death points, do you think you would still be standing here alive today? Monk No Commandment laughed out loud. Jiang Boguang had sensed that those pressure points were already released earlier. Now hearing these words from Monk No Commandment, he finally relaxed. God damn it, you lying monk, he swore with a big smile. Turning his head to Ling Hu Chong, he said, Brother Ling Hu, I know you must have things to talk to the little sister. Farewell for now. If all goes well, we'll meet again someday. He cupped his hands before turning around to follow the main path down the mountain. Please wait, Brother Tian, Ling Hu Chong called out. Why? Jiang Boguang asked. Brother Tian, Ling Hu Chong said, thanks for showing me mercy during those several fights. I will make you a friend, but there's one advice I'd like to give you. If you don't listen to me, our friendship won't last long. I know what you mean, Jiang Boguang grinned. You want me to stop the kind of trash like raping and stuff? Fine, I'll listen to your advice. There are plenty of sluts and whores around. Although I'm fond of women, I don't have to prey on innocent girls or get them killed. Brother Ling Hu, wasn't it a fantastic scene at the Hangshang Jade House? Hearing him mention the Hangshang Jade House, Ling Hu Chong and Yi Lin both flushed. Laughing out loud, Jiang Boguang walked away, but after only a couple of steps, his knee gave out all of a sudden. Falling on the ground heavily, he found himself rolling down a small slope. Finally, the rolling came to a halt, and Jiang Boguang managed to sit up after some struggle. Taking out one antidote pill, he swallowed it down his throat, and instantly, severe stomachache consumed him. He sat on the ground and had no extra strength left to even move a muscle. Knowing that this was a normal process to neutralize the kind of poison he had, he did not panic at all and just waited patiently for the antidote to take its course. Plot twist, Tian Boguang can't count. No. That's funny. Earlier, when Monk No Commandment pumped the 2 streams of forceful inner energy into Ling Hu Chong's body, which effectively repressed the 6 energy streams from the Peach Valley 6 fairies, Ling Hu Chong felt so much better. All the nausea seemed to have gone away, and he could feel that he was regaining some of his strength from his legs. Welled with joy, he walked forward and bowed to Monk No Commandment with deep respect. Great Master, thank you for saving my life. I am truly grateful. No need to thank me. We are a big family now. You are my son-in-law, and I am your father-in-law. What's there to thank for? Monk No Commandment let out a big grin. Dad, you are talking nonsense again. Yilin's face turned completely red. Why? Why is that nonsense? You yearn for him days and nights. Don't you want to marry him? Even if you can't marry him, don't you want to make a pretty baby little nun with him? Monk No Commandment asked in surprise. A baby nun? He expects their baby to be a nun as well. Who wanted? Who? Yilin spitted in embarrassment. Sounds of footsteps came from the mountain path, and moments later, two people showed up. It was Yue Buchun and his daughter Yue Lingshan. Struck by surprise and joy at the same time, Ling Hu Chong greeted in a hurry. Master, little apprentice sister, you are back. Where's Master Wife? He called out. Noticing that Ling Hu Chong was much fitter and looked nothing close to the weak look he had the last gasp the day before, Yue Buchun felt quite happy. But it was not time to ask him yet. Instead, he cupped his hands toward Monk No Commandment. May I be enlightened to hear your respectful name, Great Master? What brought you to our shabby residence? He asked. My name is Monk No Commandment. I came to your shabby residence to look for my son-in-law. Monk No Commandment replied and pointed at Ling Hucheng. He came from being a butcher and didn't know the kind of polite formula scholars would exchange at greetings. Since Yue Buchun said shabby residence, he simply copied it. Yue Buchun had no clue as to who this monk was. When he heard the monk say, I came to look for my son-in-law, he thought that the monk was actually spitting out insults intentionally. Although angered, he kept a calm face and only replied, Great master, you must be joking. Seeing that Yilin came forward to salute him, he inquired, Nephew apprentice Yilin, did your master send you here to Mount Huashan? Yilin flushed slightly as she replied, No, I... Yue Buchun paid no more attention to Yilin and turned to Tian Boguang. Huh, Tian Boguang, you sure have a lot of guts. I get along with your apprentice Ling Hucheng, so I carried 2 jars of wine up Mount Huashan for a good drink with him. That doesn't take a lot of guts, Tian Boguang replied. Where's the wine then? Yue Buchun's face turned sterner. We finished it on top of the cliff of contemplation a long time ago. Yue Buchun turned to Ling Hucheng. Is that true? He asked. Master, Ling Hucheng answered, that was a long story. Please allow me to explain in details. How long has Tian Boguang been on Mount Huashan? About half a month. During the half a month, was he on Mount Huashan all the time? Yes. Why didn't you report to me? Yue Buchun asked in a stern voice. I think I need a break, guys. It's getting hard to read. Alright, 5-minute break. And you get another song. Yay. Alright guys, I'll be right back. 5 minutes. Ooh. Oh shit. Wait. Stop. No! Freaking ads, man. Yeah, I'm playing with fire playing those songs. Those are pretty well known. I hope I don't get copyrighted. What is this about? Okay. Linfamy has throat itch, body heat, some kind of skin rash. Maybe he had allergy. I'm not... What skin rash? What skin rash? I don't see anything. What skin rash are you talking about? I don't have allergies. Ah! It's not the chips. Do you guys ever wonder who's Yilin's mom? Some monk or some nun, right? Red face? I guess. Maybe it's the lighting. I think it's the lighting, guys. It's not red. It's not red. I'm not drunk, okay? I swear. I'm not an alcoholic. Yeah. Plus, this is not my real body, okay? This is my human costume, remember? I'm actually a cartoon. It's the Asian glow. I didn't drink anything, I promise. Oh, no, I drank water. No, you're right. Alright. Let's do this. I'll drink at the end, though. What voice did I give the master? I forgot. I don't think this is the right one. Okay, but looks like Ling Hucheng's getting in trouble with his master. Why didn't you report to me? Yue Buchun asked in a stern voice. Master and master wife weren't here at the time, Ling Huchong answered. Where were they then? Where were we then? You were in Chang'an town, chasing Mr. Tian. Yue Buchun let out a snort. Mr. Tian. Mr. Tian. You knew he committed countless cruel crimes. Why didn't you slay him with your sword? Even if you couldn't beat him, you should have died fighting him. Why did you make friends with him in fear for your life? I didn't want to kill him. What could he do? Kill himself with his own sword because he couldn't beat me in a fight? Oh, wait. I didn't want to kill him. What could he do? Kill himself with his own sword because he couldn't beat me in a fight? Tian Boguang interrupted, still not able to stand up. He remained sitting on the ground. What makes you think you are allowed to talk in front... What makes you think you are allowed to talk in front of me? Yue Buchun retorted. He said to Ling Huchong, Go, kill him. Father, Big Apprentice Brother has severe wounds. He shouldn't fight anyone. Yue Lingshan couldn't help but interrupt. Wasn't that evil rapist seriously wounded just as well? What are you worrying about? I am here. Do you think I will allow that villain to injure my apprentice? Yue Buchun said. Yue Buchun knew that Ling Huchong was cunning and crafty, and hated evil as if it were his personal enemy. In addition, Tian Boguang had wounded him just recently, so for sure he would not make true friends with that evil rapist. Perhaps he resorted to a battle of wits after failing the battle of strength. At the moment, Tian Boguang had been seriously wounded, and probably that would have attributed to Ling Huchong's efforts already. That was why, when he heard that Ling Huchong had made friends with the evil rapist, he wasn't angry for real, and only ordered Ling Huchong to kill the villain. That would not only rid the people of a scourge, but also make a name for a young apprentice. Yue Buchun was sure that at Tian Boguang's current state, even if he could still fight Ling Huchong to a tie, he would stand no chance against even a slight snap attack from Yue himself. But to his surprise, Ling Huchong replied, Master, this brother Tian has promised me that he will sincerely mend his ways, starting from now on, and never harm any innocent woman. I know that he is a man of his word. Why don't we... What? What makes you believe that he is a man of his word? How can one discuss word of honor with such a villain who has committed crimes for which even death cannot atone? How many innocent lives have perished under his murderous knife? What good is it that we martial people practice martial arts if we don't slay this type of evil? Lingshan, hand your sword over to your big apprentice brother. Yue Buchun yelled in a stern voice. Yes, Yue Lingshan replied. She unsheathed her sword and handed the sword to Ling Huchong, handle first. Ling Huchong found himself in a very awkward situation. He never dared to go against his master's orders, but earlier, on the verge of death, he had already shaken hands with Tian Boguang and made friends with him, boob friends. In addition, Tian Boguang had promised to correct his errors and make a fresh start. Although Tian Boguang committed countless crimes before, he was one who would truly keep his words. If Ling Huchong killed him now, it wouldn't feel right. He took the sword from Yue Lingshan and started stumbling toward Tian Boguang. After a dozen steps or so, he pretended that his legs were so weak because of the several wounds of his. Bending his left knee all of a sudden, he threw himself to the ground, and with a thud, the longsword in his hand penetrated his left shin. No one had expected that to happen, and all cried out in shock. Yilin and Yue Lingshan had both dashed toward him, but Yilin halted only after her first step, thinking to herself that how could she, a member of the Buddhist order, show her care and affection to a young man in public. Big apprentice brother, are you all right? Yue Lingshan rushed by Ling Huchong and cried out. Ling Huchong did not answer, his eyes shut tight. Yue Lingshan grabbed the hold of the sword handle and gave it a pull. The sword came out as blood gushed out from the wound like a spring. She hurriedly took out some medication of the Huashan school and applied them to Ling Huchong's wound on his leg. When she looked up by chance, she suddenly noticed the worried pale face of Yilin that was covered by care and concern. Yue Lingshan felt the thump in her heart as she thought aloud, "This little nun surely cares for big apprentice brother very much." "Dad, let me slay that evil villain." Yue Lingshan stood up with her sword in hand. "If you kill that villain, you would stain your reputation for nothing. Give the sword to me," Yue Buchun directed. Tian Boguang was such an infamous rapist that his name was well known by many. Yue Buchun worried that when the news spread out later that Miss Yue had killed Tian Boguang, it was destined that some rascals would cook up many stories about how there was an attempted rape, so on and so forth. Do they have like a? Why did they filter that out? Why did they filter that out? That's the first word that we've seen filtered. Hearing her father's words, Yue Lingshan handed the sword over. But Yue Buchun did not take the sword. Instead, he flicked his right sleeve, which wrapped the sword inside. "No!" Monk No Commandment shouted when he saw the scene. He quickly took off his 2 shoes and held them in his hands. Yue Buchun swung his arm with a chop stance. The longsword shot toward Tian Boguang, who was in a distance of 100 feet or so, like a missile. That was well expected by Monk No Commandment. He threw hard with both of his arms. The 2 shoes also shot out in great speed. The sword was heavy and the shoes were light. Plus, that the sword was thrown before the 2 shoes, but somehow the 2 shoes were able to fly in front of the sword in an arc and circled back. Each shoe hooked onto one side of the sword handle and actually was able to send the longsword back toward where it was thrown. The sword flew a couple dozens of feet back and then finally lost its momentum and fell to the ground. The sword tip penetrated the soil and kept the sword standing. The 2 shoes were still hooked on the handle and swayed back and forth. So the monk threw his shoes at the sword and got it to turn backwards and penetrate the soil. "That was terrible! Terrible!" Monk No Commandment shouted. "Lin your daddy spent too much inner energy on the son-in-law's internal wounds today. That's why the sword fell only halfway through. It should have flown to only 2 feet from the son-in-law's master and give him a good scare. Alas, your daddy Monk has really lost face this time. This is so embarrassing." The Shumerang technique? That's good. Good job, Patrick. I like that. Throwing a glance at Yue Buchun's unhappy face, Yilin whispered, "Dad, enough." She hurried forward and removed the 2 shoes off the sword handle. Pulling the sword off the ground, she hesitated. She knew that Ling Huchong didn't want to kill Tian Boguang. If she had given the sword back to Yue Lingshan and she went to kill Tian Boguang again, wouldn't that break Ling Huchong's heart? When Yue Buchun swung his arm and shot out the longsword with his sleeve, he thought that for sure the sword would cut through Tian Boguang's heart. Who had expected that Monk No Commandment was actually able to put so much strength onto his 2 shoes with such a clever maneuver? This monk kept yelling out loud, referring to himself as the little nun's father and calling Ling Huchong his son-in-law, full of nonsense. Obviously, he was just a mad monk, but his kung fu skills are indeed outstanding. Didn't he say that he just spent a good amount of his inner energy to heal Ling Huchong's internal wounds? If it hadn't been so, wouldn't he be even more exceptional? Although he didn't use the divine arts of Violet Twilight when he flicked with his sleeve, he was sure he wouldn't lose to the monk if he had actually used it. Still, it wouldn't be appropriate for a renowned master to strike again once the first strike had missed. So he cupped his hand and said, "Very admirable, great master. Since you are determined to take this villain under your wings, it would be inappropriate for me to intervene today. What do you think?" Hearing him say that he wouldn't kill Tian Boguang today, Yilin held the longsword in both hands and walked in front of Yue Lingshan. Bowing slightly, she said, "Sister, you..." Yue Lingshan snorted as she grabbed hold of the sword handle. Without even looking, she returned the sword back to its sheath. The shove appeared to be neat and swift. Monk No Commandment chortled. Miss, that was a handsome trick. He turned to Ling Hu Chong and said, My little son-in-law, let's go. Your apprentice sister is very pretty. I'd be nervous to leave you and her together. Great Master, I know you like to kid around, but remarks like that would damage the reputation of both the Hengshan and the Huashan sword schools. Will you please stop that? Ling Hu Chong demanded. What? When we finally found you and saved your life after so much trouble, now you don't want to marry my daughter? Monk No Commandment was astonished. Ling Hu Chong put on a solemn face. Ling Hu Chong dares not ever forget the kindness Great Master has shown by saving my life. Apprentice Sister Yilin's Hangshan Sword School has very strict rules. If you keep making such meaningless jokes, it wouldn't look good for the two senior sisters, Ding Xian and Ding Yi. Lin what's up with this son-in-law? I don't get it. Monk No Commandment scratched his head hard. Yilin covered her face with both hands and cried, Dad, enough. He does his things and I do my own. Why mix us together? Tears burst out from her eyes as she dashed down the mountain path. Monk No Commandments was even more confused. He dazed for a moment and then muttered, This is so strange. Before seeing him, she would give up everything to see him. But once she sees him, she didn't want to see him anymore. She is just like her mother. It's simply impossible to understand that what a little nun may be thinking. Seeing that his daughter was getting further and further, he chased after her. Tianbo Guang managed to stand up after some struggle. The Green Mountain will always be green, and the Blue River will continue to flow. I'll see you around, he said to Ling Hu Chong, and then turned around and stumbled his way down the mountain path. Yue Buchun waited till Tianbo Guang had gone far before speaking to Ling Hu Chong again. Chong, you are treating that evil villain well. You would rather stab yourself than kill him. Ling Hu Chong's face showed some shame. He knew that Master had seen through his act with his sharp eyes. He lowered his head. Master, he did have many bad conducts, but he has promised to mend his ways and do good. He has shown mercy and spared my life multiple times when he had me in his hands. Talking morality with such a brutal and cold-blooded skunk. Sooner or later, you will have to pay for it, Yue Buchun sneered. He had always favored this head apprentice of his. Seeing that he had survived such severe wounds had already brought him great joy. When Ling Hu Chong pretended to fall and stabbed himself in the leg, he knew very well that it was an act, but he also knew too well that Ling Hu Chong had always been crafty since he was only a child, so he decided not to investigate further. Besides, Ling Hu Chong's words to Monk No Commandments were very effective and appropriate, just the way he wanted it. Therefore, he chose to set the case of Tianbo Guang aside temporarily. Where's the booklet? Yue Buchun stuck out his hand. Yeah, done. The booklet is the Divine Arts of Violet Twilight, the manuscript that he gave Ling Hu Chong, which is still back with the frozen Lu Dayo. Yeah, that monk has no filter. You're right, Nikki. He just says whatever he wants. These are good. Pizza chips are okay. Pizza chips are pretty good. It tastes kind of like pizza. No. Lynn, sorry for earlier. I really got worried. Sorry for what? What did you do? About the... Yeah. So are we still Team Ling Lin? Do we still like Yilin? Do we still want them to get together? Taki is really good. Oh yeah. All right. Time for the usual. Some whiskey. Ugh. Oh no. I don't have allergies at all. I don't know if I'm allergic to anything actually. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky that way. Fuck. God damn it. You guys. This is the second time I spilled stuff. That's a lot of whiskey though. Okay, yep. We're still Team Yilin. All right. Cheers. Did not finish. It just spilled a little bit. All right, guys. Cheers. I'll see you next week. I love you. The kami deserve a shot too. I'm not drinking another one. Yeah, I love monk no commandments too. All right, guys. I'll see you.